Across the globe, governments are reacting to a massive geopolitical panic. Fearing they will become permanent digital colonies to US or Chinese monopolies, nations are attempting to withdraw from the global network. They are pouring billions into national walled gardens, passing data embargoes, and trying to build their own state-backed silicon pipelines. The European Union is currently leading this movement, committing public capital to localized technology stacks and sovereign language models to decouple from foreign providers. India and nations across the Middle East are following suit, mandating localized compute infrastructure and state-controlled data pipelines as a matter of national security. This strategy of isolation triggers a catastrophic architectural misdiagnosis. Rather than achieving independence, these nations are entering a mathematical trap that threatens to bankrupt their treasuries and starve their own economies. Modern sovereignty requires moving past the concept of software and chatbots. We are now deploying millisecond cognitive compute and autonomous kinetic robotics, technologies that cannot run on a simple localized server. Maintaining global infrastructure, silicon, compute, capital, energy, logistics, costs apex gatekeepers $6.5 trillion annually. Sovereign tech initiatives neglect the final two pillars, the ecological thermodynamic capacity of the land and the biological cognitive bandwidth of the people. The math is unforgiving. No single nation-state possesses the sovereign balance sheet required to replicate this entire 7-layer global substrate from scratch. When 195 nations attempt to build isolated versions of global foundries and power grids, they create a Splinternet, a planet of disconnected, underfunded assets. They end up hoarding dead mass within their borders, cannibalizing their own ecological watersheds and human populations just to feed redundant machines. Governments are making this impossible bet because of institutional isomorphism. In moments of extreme uncertainty, institutions mimic the dominant actors they see. They are looking at the massive corporate silos of the 20th century and trying to duplicate that broken, isolated architecture at a national level. Attempting to protect a 4-dimensional reality, physical land, sovereign laws, biological health, and digital capability, by building a 1-dimensional wall creates infinite friction. As transaction costs for navigating these embargoes rise, the market simply seizes. Independence is not achieved by fracturing the global economy into isolated digital islands that choke on their own thermodynamic exhaust. To maintain agency without financial ruin, we have to execute a kinetic decoupling. This requires a shift from replicating physical supply chains to engineering the architecture that allows information to flow while the infrastructure remains local. The world's hyperscalers are currently suffocating under the weight of physical, concrete, and copper liabilities. Through a re-engineering facility, gatekeepers shed heavy liabilities, converting intellectual property into borderless code. This capability routes to the edge instantly, executing only by resolving 3 constraints: sovereign policy as code, physical grid capacity, and social cryptographic consent from a biological oracle. This 4-dimensional market settlement allows the world's most powerful capabilities to route into a nation as an agnostic vessel, fully tethered to local agency. When capability routes to the edge under these strict localized constraints, it generates an algorithmic yield. This wealth is not extracted by a central monopoly. It is retained natively as a gross co-creation pool. Every pillar of the local community, the state, the power grid, and the citizens, earns high-margin revenue by actively resolving reality at the moment of execution. This is the modern definition of sovereignty, the ability to confidently invite global capabilities into your borders because your architecture mathematically forces that technology to obey your laws, respect your environment, and enrich your people. Survival in this era does not depend on building 195 fragile wall. It depends on building for macro-systemic coherence.